Hello, welcome to today's class on understanding geography with diagrams. Today our topic is local winds. First of all, let us understand what is a local wind. Local wind is nothing but a wind that is but a advecting wind or the wind with the advection motion that basically rises due to the difference in temperature. Sorry, difference in pressure. So basically, I would state again, local winds are nothing but advecting winds that arises because of the pressure difference. What is this pressure difference? The one area we have a high pressure and a low pressure, and as we had studied in the early classes, wind moves from high pressure to low pressure. Now let's look into the local winds. First of all, local winds would be categorizing into four categories. Number one, we have your sand bridge, the sea breeze, and the land breeze. Second, we have the katabatic and the anabatic winds. Next, we have your depression winds. Last but not the least, we have your descending winds. We'll discuss one by one. Now, first of all, let us discuss what is your sea breeze and your land breeze. Now, basically, what happens is that this is your land and this is your sea. What happens during the daytime? During the daytime, basically what happens is that the land gets heated up very fast. Now heating of the land, heated land will result in what? Positive temperature. Positive temperature anomaly means there is a rise in temperature when compared to the nearby seas. Hence, it would result in the movement of the air from the sea or from the ocean towards the land. This is called your sea breeze. Now, now let's move on and understand your land bridge. Now let's move on to the night time. During the night time, what happens is that again the land cools faster than the sea. Land cools faster than the sea, but again the sea is hot or the ocean is hot. See, why is the ocean or the sea hot? Basically, one of the reasons that we can state over here is that the water takes time to get warm up, as well as it takes time to release the heat. Hence, during the night time the water temperature is higher than the comparatively to the temperature of the land. As a result of this, what will happen? The wind will flow from the land towards your sea. This is that simple example of your sea bridge and land bridge. I hope you can write the answer. For more, you can also follow the notes that has been uploaded. Next, let us understand the katabatic and the anabatic wind. See, katabatic, anabatic wind, they are also called as the, this is your valley, mountain and valley bridge. This is your mountain and this is your valley bridge. What is this mountain and valley bridge? Again, let us understand this with the diagram. This is your mountain. What happens during the daytime? During the daytime, the sun the sun obviously will heat up the slope very fast. The slopes get heated very fast when compared to your valley. The valley are considerably cool. Hence, again applying the law, that is the wind will flow from the cooler to the hotter region, or from the high pressure area to the low pressure region. Hence, this is the high pressure area. Wind will flow over here to the low pressure region. Now, what happens during the night time? During the very night time, the opposite will happen. During the night time, what happens is that, see, the basically the mountain slope will get cooler faster. This will get cooler faster when compared to your valley. The valley would be comparatively warmer. Hence, as a result of which, the cold air over the mountain will descend towards your valley. And this is your nothing but your this is your mountain bridge. I hope you got that. The mountain bridge flows during the night and the valley bridge will flow during the day. This is the simple concept of your katabatic and animatic wind. Now let us understand your depression. Now with respect to depression, you can see number one, we have the depression, which is a cold depression with polar outbreaks, and next we have the warm depression with dust devils. Let us understand the cold depression with the polar outbreaks. Now this is the diagram that I have drawn. Basically you can see is that first of all over here you see is the blizzard, next you see purga, next you see pampero, and above all, as you know, we have over here is your arctic circle. Sorry, we have over here is the arctic circle. Now basically what happens is that this is the arctic circle, which basically is the main reason for the flow of your cold blizzard or the cold wind. This is the source region from which we have the blizzards, or we have this depression kind of a wind. This depression kind of winds are known as different names. We have named it as blizzard where in the North America, we call it purgas where we call it purgas basically you're here in China region. Now what is the difference between this blizzard and the purga? Now basically with respect to blizzard, as you know that this entire region there is no topographic barrier or the orographic barrier. What is orographic barrier? Sorry, orographic barrier. Orographic barrier simply means that mountain barrier, and mountain barriers are absent over here where in North America, whereas over here there are certain mountain barriers near the China, as a result of which the purgas are not that extreme when compared to the blizzards. So basically if I have to say this blizzard, purga, or we have the pamperos, what is the weather effectivity? The weather effectivity is that they make the winter intense. I hope you got that. Next, with respect to the pamperos are nothing but the depression which has been derived from dash. I hope you know the meaning of dash. Over here, if we have the Arctic Circle, obviously you know what we have over here. I'm not going to say, I'm quite sure that most of you know it. If you don't know, please look into the Google. Next, let's move on to warm wind with dust devil. Now, for the warm wind with the dust devil, basically we have taken the example of the Africa. This is the region where you get the most kind of the warm winds, and the sense Africa is dry. Also, we have this means the dust means what to say. This warm winds with the dust devil. Please, the warm winds with the dust devil. You can find the best example in Africa. Warm winds with dust devil. Let us discuss one by one. The number one we'll be discussing is your Harmattan. The Harmattan is also called your doctor's wind. Basically what happens, the Harmattan flows during the winter season. How does it flows? Basically what happens is that over here you know that the equator would be means the equator passes through the Africa. So this region, the ITCZ is established. Hence this particular region over the which this region is called the Guinea. Over this Guinea coast, what happens is that the ITC is established. When compared to the Sahara Desert, there is already the high pressure. Hence, the wind will flow from the high to the low pressure. And this will result in what? This will result in the formation of the Harmattan or the doctor's wind. Now, these winds are extremely dry, as a result of which they basically helps in removing all the moisture from this region. Hence it makes the weather comfortable to reside. And even it's because of this Harmattan wind, what happens is that most of the disease that were associated with the having a great moisture in the air basically reduces. Next to Harmattan we have your Sirocco. Like the Harmattan that is derived from the Sahara Desert, the Sirocco is also derived from your Sahara Desert. We'll be using this green marker for the Sirocco. Sirocco, as you can see, flows in from the southeastern direction. It directly affects the entire Europe, the southern Europe. is basically affected by the Sirocco. The Sirocco are the nothing but again the dry dust devil that crosses that basically flows from your Sahara Desert towards your southern Europe, passing over the Mediterranean Sea. Hence, not just this brings precipitation, but also this results in the deposition of the red dust particles or the red dust particles, because basically the sand that are being derived from these deserts are red in color, and hence red precipitation, or you can say the red rain, the occurs over here in the southern Europe. Now, as you can see, both the Harmattan and Sirocco are not so harmful. But again, we have a third category of a wind that is called your Khamsin. The Khamsin are nothing but it completely affects the Khamsin. Again, it is derived from your this Sahara Desert, but they affect your North Africa, Libya, Egypt, Israel, and then the total Arabian Peninsula. So, what is this? Basically, the Khamsin. The third, it's the Khamsin. See, the Khamsin are basically formed, or the Khamsin basically are formed as they travel along with the low pressure. That is, the low pressure is formed over here, and the low pressure marks a shift towards this region. Hence, the Khamsin or the hot and the dry wind moves towards this region. Now, the Khamsin basically is nothing but the Indian version of the Loo. Hence, this creates a hot and a dry weather condition, hence resulting in your sunstroke. I hope you got that. Hence, it's harmful for the human health and life, as well as the animal health and life. So basically, you understood three. One is Harmattan, two is Sirocco, three is the Khamsin. These are nothing but the warm wind with dust devil. Now, what do we call it dust devil? Because they are associated with bringing huge amount of dust. Harmattan brings dust over here, but again, it helps in eradicating the moisture. Similarly, the Sirocco to the southern Europe, what it is doing, it's also bringing dust with water, resulting in red rain. Khamsin, complete and pure dust, resulting in what? Nothing but again, it's making the weather very hazy and resulting in the sunstroke. I hope you got this three. Next, let's move on to the descending wind. Now, what is basically a descending wind? See, prior to moving on to the descending wind, let me get it very clear that last time we had discussed about the adiabatic warming. Adiabatic warming, I had simply said that whenever the wind comes down, it gets warmed up. Now, let us understand over here that what is this descending wind. Now, within this descending wind, as you can see, I had categorized them into two categories. A is the beneficial and B is that not non-beneficial wind. Now, basically, let's take the example of your North America. North America, over here, this is the extensive range of your Western Cordillera. If you say these are not the Western Cordillera is the best name for this region. Now, why I'm calling it Western Cordillera and not the Rockies? Because these are Cordillera type of the mountain, and hence it's completely explains them. See, what happens is that during the winter season, there is also the flow of the maritime air from this side. Now, as you can see within the figure itself, now this portion I would call it as the windward side. On the other hand, this portion I would call it as the leeward side. So obviously rain would be much higher over which area? Over this region when compared to this region. Now what happens is that the wind coming from this region, first of all, that they would face this Western Cordilleras, hence they will drop all their rain over here. But on the other hand, this region, what happens? The wind basically moves, and then when the wind falls in this region or descends in this region, what happens? This happens. That is, they are warmed up. Hence, when this warmed wind reaches this region, it will basically increase the temperature in this particular region. I hope you got that. Now, the Chinook is nothing but the particular example. The Chinook is also called your ice eater. And as and just for the purpose of GS, India has recently ordered Chinook helicopters from USA. Those who have written in the OPC exam some other state, please, it is wrong. Now, the Chinooks are the ice eaters. Basically, what happens that ice eater means it helps in melting the ice. Obviously, from this figure itself, you could understand that how they are being the ice eater, because these winds become warm. In the winter seasons, what happens is that it's because of the influence of the Arctic wind. Arctic wind, what happens is that the agricultural lands are frozen. Hence, this Chinook, what happens is that they help in melting out this wind. Now, Chinook basically is prevalent in your North America. Similarly, another kind of a wind is your Fohn. The Fohn is prevailed over your Switzerland. Both have the same function. Hence, they are beneficial. Why they are beneficial? Because they help in the purpose of farming. Next, we have the non-beneficial category. Within the non-beneficial category, I think we had discussed two. One is your Shamoon, another is a Santa Ana. Santa Ana. The Santa Ana basically flows in your California. Again, this is a descending kind of a wind, means as it descends, it gets adiabatically warmed up. But the Santa Ana basically is responsible for the wildfires in California. Hence, they are not so beneficial. Similarly, we have the Shamoon of the Iran. The Shamoon of the Iran creates a dry weather, but mostly it creates your health hazard. Now, what do you mean by health hazard? Means this. See, basically, you got the see basically what happened. You got what kind of a weather this descending winds create, and how they are economically helpful in certain cases, and how they are economically not so helpful in certain cases. Hence, I hope that you can clearly distinguish the local winds into this category. And basically, I can there are 20 markers questions can be asked in this regard. What what do you mean by the local winds? Distinguish what do you mean by the local winds? Distinguish the local winds, and henceforth, how do they affect the weather of the particular region? See, let us write the question. What do you mean by local winds? Classify them with help of a flowchart, and hence explain their weather effectivity in their particular region. I hope you'd show us the answer. Yeah, I hope you'd write and show me the answer. Thank you. Basically, post it.